in this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this automation. This automation takes a blog post, for example, one that looks like this about the basics of SEO, and turns it into a Pinterest post with a nice image that's been generated by FLUX 1.1 Pro, the latest AI image generator from Black Forest Labs. And it has a little description here and even a link to the website, which has the original blog post in here. This is a fantastic way to generate organic traffic. Pinterest is a great search engine. A lot of people kind of don't think about it, but it's a wonderful way to get a bit more organic traffic, expanding your digital footprint and increasing your SEO, which is what this channel is all about. But creating these posts for Pinterest can take a little while. You need to create the image for it that looks nice. You need to create the description and the title. Why not automate all that in the one go, leave it running and forget about it and generating a little bit more organic traffic. This is a part of a larger content automation workflow, which we teach in our premium community, the AI Ranking School community. If you want to learn how to use all these AI tools and automation tools to maximize your SEO, much like I'm going to teach you today, you should think about joining this community. We also give you all the templates and a lot more support for you to speed up that learning curve and get started correctly in your SEO game in 2025. We'll get started right away. We're going to need a few tools to make this happen. You obviously need a blog post or a website with a blog post, and then we need to understand how Make works, which is the automation platform we use on the website. I'll leave a link for you to sign up and make a free account if you haven't done so already. We also need an RSS feed that is going to grab all the main information from the blog post and send it throughout other parts of the automation that we need. We need a way to scrape the website. We predominantly use Scraptio. They give you 100 free credits per month, which is more than enough to do this automation. If you need more, you can sign up. It's really cost effective. It's about $3 a month for 500 scrapes, which tends to be more than enough for the majority of people. And we need an API key that will give you access to FLUX 1.1 Pro Ultra. That's just the image generation software that we're using for this. You can use others, and we're using it by default because it allows you to use practically any image generation and video generation software that's out there within automations, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So we'll get started right away copying this exact automation. Let me show you the output, by the way, the outcome. So for example, for this blog post here, Demystifying SEO, the basics, we generated this Pinterest here with this image that looks really nice. You can change the style of the image that matches your kind of tone of voice, your style, but I'll leave that up to you, and just leaves it on autopilot, and it triggers every time you create a blog. So going on to Make, we're going to create a new scenario. And the first thing we need to set up is the RSS feed. If you have another way to scrape your website, by all means, go for it. But this is just one way you can do it. To do that, we need to create an account on RSS feed. And you need to grab your home blog page URL. So what I mean by here is if you go to your website, for example, I need the URL that says your website and then /blogs. Yours might be /post, news, whatever that is. That's what we need here. We're going to go to the RSS feed. We're going to enter the URL there, and we're going to have RSS generator selected and go to generate. This will look slightly different depending on your website and how it's built its RSS feed. For example, I'm on Webflow, so this didn't quite work here. I'm going to have to go to RSS Builder. Not a big problem at all. I'm going to copy the same URL here and go to load website. It's going through the blog homepage, as you can see here. So now I can tell it which items within that blog page are the blogs. I'll click here and it will start understanding which are the items that we want here, and it's matching all the entries that we want because it's getting the title, the URL, and a bunch of other things I'm going to generate here. And it's going to give me a link that I'm going to use throughout the automation. Perfect. Now, yours should look a little bit like this. If it looks empty, don't worry. We need to adjust a couple of settings here. So once we saved it, that's the URL that we're going to use. Before you do that, we're going to go to settings. We're going to increase the number of posts here so we can see more items here. Going to save, and now you can see I've got more blog posts here. I can copy that, and now I'm good to go. Back in my new Make scenario, the first module here is going to be RSS. and it's going to go to watch an RSS feed item. We're going to place the URL here. And for this instance, we're going to just use maximum number of return items. We're going to leave that as 1. We're going to select, just for now, all RSS feed items, but it should just select 1. I'm going to run this one time just so we can see the data that's coming through. And we need a couple of things here. We need the URL title, which is the main thing here. There should be other things like images for your RSS feed. I'm just getting the one at the moment, which isn't too much of a worry at the moment at all. Perfect. So now I have the RSS feed. I've got the URL of my blog post. Now I need to scrape this blog post from the text content. So I'm going to use Scraptio here. If you don't have Scraptio, you'll make an account, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. I'm going to scrape websites text. You can do this manually with a HTTP call, but I just prefer the way this does it a lot neater. So in the module that says website to scrape, I need the URL from the RSS feed. That is my blog post. I'm going to leave everything else as is, go OK. By the way, you'll need to make an account on Scraptio. You're going to, once you do that, you're going to add a new key, name the key, for example, make. So I'm going to rename this API key, for example, make test, and I'm going to create the key here. This is the one time you're going to get this API key, or to be able to see it. So copy it, make sure you save it somewhere that you can reference it again. And then the first time that you create your Scraptio connection, it's gonna tell you to create that connection here. It'll look a little bit like this. You add that API key there. I've already made a connection, so I don't need to again. So I've selected the URL there. That's coming from the RSS feed. Perfect. I'm going to go to OK. Right. So now I want to save this, and when you're making automations, it's really good to get into the habit of saving these things. Otherwise, if it crashes or whatever might happen, you'll lose the entire work that you've done, and you don't want that to happen. Perfect. So now we're going to just run this one more time, but before we run it, we need to select again here, choose where to start. All RSS feed items, there should be one item there only, and we're going to run this once, and I want to just make sure the Scraptio is working, meaning it's scraping the text from that blog post. And if I see the results here, which you can do by clicking this little one bubble, I go to data and I see here all the contents from the blog post. Perfect, just as the text. Great. So now I need to start thinking about what are the contents that I need to generate for this to go to Pinterest correctly. Well, I need an image, and then I need to create a title for that Pinterest, and I need to create the actual description that goes below the Pinterest. So let's start doing that now. A couple of things I want to create here. I want to generate a prompt that will generate an image description that I can give to an AI image generator like FLUX 1.1 Pro. Sounds a little bit confusing, but I'll show you the prompt and then this will make sense in a little while. So I'm going to go here to OpenAI. You don't have to use OpenAI. You can use any other AI of your choice. I've just got the API installed, so no problems at all. And I'm going to create a chat completion. If you don't know where to get your API key from OpenAI, I'll leave a link to a quick video that I've made showing you how to do that. The model here, I'm just going to use GPT-O. It's more than smart enough for that. And under messages, I'm going to use the user role. I don't need to do the system or the system role. It's kind of like a system prompt. It's not complicated enough for what we're doing, so don't worry about that. And in the text content, I'm going to paste this prompt that I've already generated. Essentially, what it's telling it to do is to grab the contents of a blog post and imagine what would go well as a Pinterest post or an image description for it. I've identified the type of guidelines, what I want it to do, creating this type of 3D imagery. You can do whatever you want here, but that's just the way that I like to do it. And then at the end, I'm going to give it the blog contents, which is from Scraptio here. Beautiful. So now I'm going to rename this so that I don't get lost throughout the automations further down the line. And I'm just going to say image prompt generator. I'm going to go to OK, so now I won't get confused. The next thing I want to do is a little bit more complex, but not too much here. So for this, You don't have to use FLUX 1.1. You can actually use DALL-E if that's good enough for you, but I prefer the way that FLUX 1.1 Pro creates the images. So with Fall, and you'll need to create an account for Fall and add a few credits. I'm not going to show you how to do that, but it's very, very easy to do so. If you go to the Explore tab, you'll be able to see all of the models that are available to you. I'm going to go to my apps because I use this quite often and choose the FLUX 1.1 Pro. Now there's a little bit of a trick here to making this work correctly. Fall here, they do it really nicely. They show you how you can make all the calls for different languages, whether it's a JavaScript, Python, Swift, depending on how you're building your workflow, your application, because you can inject this practically anywhere with the help of Fall. I'm going to go the C URL. And this gives me the type of call that I need to make in order for me to be able to actually get an image generated. So to make this happen, I'm going to go to HTTP module. So I'm going to make a request here. And the URL that I need to choose is given to me by Fall.ai, and it's this one here. I'm going to go back to my integration and place that there. The method is not going to be get, it's going to be post. The headers, here's where you need to add a little bit of your keys to be able to actually make the request. And inside the name of the first item, you're going to put authorization, and then you'll have to put your key from Fall.ai. Don't worry if this is getting complicated. I'm going to show you where to get your key. I've blurred this out, obviously for security purposes, but you need to put key, and then after key, a space, and the API key from Fall.ai. You do that by going onto your Fall account. You're going to go to account. You're going to go to API keys, and you'll add a key, create a new key, copy that, and then you'll be able to paste it right here. Are there some security threats with this? Yes and no. The good thing about Fall.ai that it only uses the credits, or you can load credits to that account, and if somebody gets hold of your API key, they're only going to be able to use the credits that you've got in that account. But this is fairly safe to do this within this automation. So I've got that there. And then the body type is going to be raw here. And that's going to allow me to select JSON here. And the request content type, this is where it gets a little bit tricky, but I'm going to give you the assets for this below as well. Request the content here. So you can see here that there's a bunch of like mumbo jumbo stuff here, but within the prompt stuff, I want to give you the result of the previous module, which was the GPT that takes the prompt and creates an image description for this. I've got all the other settings done correctly. I'm going to go to OK. Now, there's one more thing that you'll need to do. If you look back at Fall and we go to apps and we look at the API call, what they said you should do, which technically is right, but it complicates things a bit more, is using the URL that says http queue.fall.run. What you need to do is delete the queue part. Otherwise, you'll need to create a bunch of different modules that waits for the image generation to be done before you can continue, and it's a bit of a hassle. So you just need to delete that queue section. And now if we go back to our automation, you'll see that I've deleted that. So it's the same URL, but it doesn't have the queue section. You want that? I'm going to go to OK. Beautiful. Don't worry if you don't know how to do this or it's getting too complicated. I'm going to show you where you can get the JSON file that you can upload right away, so you don't have to build this whole thing out yourself. Perfect. So now we've got the image generation, and I am going to save this, and I want to test this out before I move too much forward. Otherwise, it gets a little bit difficult to handle the errors and know where things went wrong. But I should now, if I save it and select here, choose when to start, I'm going to choose all RSS feed items. Hopefully, I'll scrape my blog post, create the image description, and generate the image from Fall. It'll give us a URL where we can see that image. We're going to run once. Hopefully, the automation gods are with us. In tutorials, they kind of tend to go wrong, but we'll see here. Hopefully, everything works. We're generating the image prompt. Fantastic. And we've got a bit of an issue here. Let's see if we can fix this here. Perfect. So I know here that it didn't like a couple of the characters that it's used as the output of the image prompt. More importantly, the double quotation marks. So I need to go back to the prompt and just tell it don't use any special characters. This can mess up the JSON structure, which we need for it to be very, very simple. So I'm going to go here. Perfect. Going to go to OK, and I'm going to try this one more time. Going to save this, and again to other RSS feed, choose where to start, all RSS feed items, and I'm going to run it once again. Perfect. Now it's looking that it's generating our image. Hopefully it does the whole thing correctly. We shall see. Looks like this time it's worked because we don't have any special characters. If we look at the result from our HTTP request and we go to the output bundle, we're going to be able to see the data. We're going to be able to see the data here, and let's just see what our image kind of returned as, and that's pretty good. AI plus SEO. You can change this if you want, but I'm happy with that. I'm happy that the automation so far is working. So I've got now the image that I'm going to place into Pinterest. I'm going to add another module here. And I need a module that will generate the description to go below the Pinterest image. And I'll also then generate the title. So I'm going to go to the OpenAI module again. I'm going to go to create the chat completion. The model, again, I'm going to use 4.0. You can use 4.0 mini because this isn't necessarily very complicated what we're asking you to do. And 4.0 mini is a bit cheaper, but 4.0 for me is fine at the moment. Weird flex, I know. The role, again, I'm going to use as a user. The text is where we use the prompt, and I've just got it pre-prepared here, so we don't have to take too much time here. And again, the prompt here is just telling it to take the blog post output and turn it into a description for a Pinterest post. Right down the bottom where it says blog post, you just need to make sure that you give it the data from Scraptio. I'm going to go to OK. Rename this as well, get into the habit of doing that. So I'm going to go Pinterest description. And now I need to make the title. I'm going to just copy this module or clone it because I'm a bit lazy, because it's got nearly all of the parameters that I need. I just need to change the prompt itself slightly this time, not too much at all. And all this prompt is telling it to do, instead of writing the entire description, is just to write a Pinterest title. And again, I don't have to give it all of the blog post data. This time I can just give it the output of the Pinterest description. That way they're a lot more in alignment and there's not too much variation between those two. I'm going to go to OK. And again, I'm going to rename this to Pinterest title. Okay. And now I'm nearly done. I need to connect my Pinterest account. I'm going to go to Pinterest. Ideally for this, you want to be already signed in or logged into your Pinterest account with the same browser that you're doing all of this in. It makes things way easier. I'm going to select create a pin. I've already got my Pinterest account connected. You'll have to do that. Not too difficult to do. Now, the source type, I'm going to go to image URL because we're grabbing the image that was generated by, so here now I need to generate the image URL, which we might need to run this whole thing again because I've forgotten one thing, which I'm happy making errors in a tutorial because I want to show you what happened here. I need to make sure that I've got the pass the response enabled. So yes, this will make it a lot easier for me to grab certain aspects of that output into Pinterest. So what I'm going to do is just disconnect the Pinterest module for now. I'm going to save this and I'm going to run the entire thing again. Choose where to start, all RSS feed items, and go to run once, because I need it to kind of see what the whole data output is so I can give Pinterest just the URL of the image that's hosted on full. I'm going to show you in a second what I mean here. And now it's a good time as well that I can see the rest of the automations working, the Pinterest description, the Pinterest title. If I see the output now of the HTTP request, I can go to data, I can go to images, collection, and now I see the URL as one little variant that I can connect to Pinterest in a certain item. So for example, I've got the Pinterest connection now open, and the source type will be an image URL, and the image URL here will be in the HTTP request. I go to drop down the images and I choose the URL there. Perfect. You can leave everything else here empty. The board, you need to create boards in your Pinterest account that'll suit this. I'll let you make that at your own discretion. The title here, I want to grab the data from the GPT module that created the title. The description, obviously, from the GPT module that created the description. The alt text, I use the same title. And then finally, really important, the link here, you want to grab the link from the URL that the RSS feed grabbed, because we want to route people or get the traffic from Pinterest to go to my blog post. That's the end goal, to improve my SEO, right? And I'm going to go to OK. Cool. Now I'm going to save this, and now I've got the whole automation that should be working. Now I want to show you my Pinterest account here. So the last image was this one, SEO. Now the next image will be slightly very similar because it's the same blog post, but I want to show you here that once we reload it, we'll run the automation, we reload it, there'll be a new image here. So I'm going to go back to my my automation. I'm going to make sure that this is saved again. The RSS feed module, I'm going to go choose where to start, and all RSS feed items, go to OK. And go to run once, and we'll see that this whole thing should be working. Now remember, the last Pinterest was this one here, last pin that said SEO, little orange stuff here, and the title here was Boost Your Biz Beginner SEO Guide in 2025. The new pin should be slightly different here once we reload my Pinterest account after the automation has been completed. Perfect, so the automation's completed. Looks like we had no errors. Nice. And now I'm going to go to Pinterest. I'm going to refresh my account. And now I should see a new post here. And we see it here. That's the new post that is working and that has just come out here. And if we go to it, I can see the results, and I can visit the website here, which we want people to do. And here it's reconnecting people to my blog post. So I've done the entire post here, the entire circle, which is what we want here. We're generating traffic. The last thing that you want to do is then decide how often you want this automation to run. So you need to understand here, well, am I publishing content, blog post every day, every second day, every Tuesday, maybe? And that's where you need to set when this automation starts. So we can run a scenario, for example, days of the week. Let's say I know that I publish content on a Monday, Wednesday, and a Thursday. I wanted to make sure that it runs after I publish the blog post. So let's say I publish blog posts always at 9 a.m. in the morning, because that's when I schedule them. It should be in the afternoon. I'm going to go to OK. And then you're going to activate the scenario, and that's it. You can leave this running and it'll activate, or it'll run on those selected days. And now you have your automation from your blog post to your Pinterest account, 100% all automated. Really good, getting more organic traffic. And that's the whole thing of this. You want to maximize your digital footprint, making you easier to be seen by all the search engines, not only Google, but this also adds validity to your brand. And it's a great way to get your content out there by automating correctly using really cool images from FLUX 1.1 Pro. I hope you liked this tutorial. If you found any value in it, please consider subscribing and liking this video. It will give us a lot of help for this channel. And if you really want to learn, speed up your process, get a lot of support when doing these automations, and you want to learn how to maximize your SEO with AI and automations, check out our online community, the AI Ranking School community. And if you have any questions, leave it in the comments below of this video, and I'd love to answer them. I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.